Hey, it's Matt with Midwest Guns and Gear, and got another old firearm we're going to take a look at today. Got a couple of them in here. The Colt Double Action. Used to see these around back in the 90s. They would pop up. They were super cheap. This is I believe this is a civilian model. It doesn't have any military markings on it. I've got another one here. This is a 1898 model. This is a 1901 model. This is actually a U.S. Army issue one. And these came out. The U.S. Army used the single action revolver for years. They were going to go to a swing out cylinder double action revolver. Colt got the contract for them. The original one was the model 1892. There was an 1894. An 1898, which is what this is. Again, this is a civilian model. There was the 1901 and the 1905. And these were chambered in 38 Colt and 41 Colt. And start off with these, if you do run across one of these, and you see they're marked on the barrel, Colt DA 38. So if you happen to run into one of these and, I don't know, your grandpa's safe or at a gun show and you pick it up, because they're incredibly cheap when you run across them normally, unless it's some kind of a, special one that's lettered. Well, Colt 38, that's 38 Colt. So 38 short Colt, 38 long Colt. 38 special will fit in these, as will 357 Magnum. If you try to shoot 38 Colt or 357 Magnum, you're not going to have a good day. It's quite possibly could blow up the revolver, because this is not made to take those pressures. So same with, there's some other 38s. I think 38 Smith & Wesson might fit in there as well, but again, these are older. They're not meant to take those charges. In fact, I believe when these were out, they had the modern metallic cartridge, but they were still using black powder inside of them instead of your modern smokeless powder. So again, if you run across one of these, do not shoot anything other than 38 Colt if you can find it. It's very hard to find. The other thing is with these, the cylinders would go counterclockwise instead of clockwise. And it would set the timing off on these. The older Colts, to check the timing on them, how I was always taught growing up, is that you would cock the hammer back, you would drop the hammer, and of course timing, that refers to the bullet in the cylinder lining up with the barrel. If it's off just a little bit, again, it could hit the side of the barrel and cause an issue. Now this one, you can see there's a little bit of play in there. It probably would be safe to shoot, but it was not one that I was ever really comfortable shooting. I didn't want to take a chance. So this one, I've never shot it since owning it. It's just more of a collector. This one, on the other hand, it's solid in here. It does not move. And I've shot this a few times. I haven't really shot it much, just basically because the 38 Colt is hard to find. I've reloaded a few cartridges, and I've got some. We're going to take this one to the range and pop off a couple of rounds with it. But most of what I got is just what I've reloaded. Now this one, like I said, it's a Army model. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick it up, but you see a lot of stamps down there. And with these, they would start with the 1892, when they went to the 94, the 98, the 01. They would go into the arsenal and be reworked, and when they did, they would kind of stamp over the previous ones, or they would stamp in another spot. And this one, as a matter of fact, I think this is the one I've got that has John Thompson's initials on there, because whoever at the arsenal approved them at the end of it would put their initials on there. And this was one. John Thompson of the Thompson submachine gun was in the Army and did oversee some of these being reworked. Now, again, 38 Colt on these. 38 Colt was a very, very anemic, underpowered cartridge. And so even though these were around for a while, there were some complaints on these. Spanish-American War, the war in the Philippines, these were being used. Spanish-American War, Teddy Roosevelt carried one of these. His was actually put in a museum and stolen, and then returned to the museum, and then stolen again, and I believe eventually returned to the museum that it sits in. The USS Maine that was sunk, that's kind of kicked off the Spanish-American War. When it was raised, they found one of the 1892, the older variants, was found in that and given to the president at the time, who I think might have been Roosevelt as well at the time that received it. But they're not bad pistols. They're fairly accurate the few times that I've shot in this one. Very underpowered. The cartridge being underpowered, and the Philippines is where they really had some issues with these, because you would have enemy combatants running at you with a machete or a sword. You'd have your 6 rounds. You fire your 6 rounds, and then your enemy combatant was still running at you with a sword. It wasn't enough to drop them, especially if they were on some kind of substance. And it would, I mean, eventually they would succumb to the injuries, but at the time they had enough adrenaline going that they kept coming. So this was phased out for the 45 ACP, which you know, the 1911 that everyone's familiar with. Also the 1917, which we're going to be shooting a video on here when I'm done with this one. But these are, like I said, fairly accurate, just very, very underpowered. If you run across them, they're pretty cheap unless it's some kind of a special one that the history's been, you know, researched and has documents going with them. But they're nice for a collection. A lot of older Colts, if you can find them where the timing's not bad. These, the police positives, are another one. Fairly inexpensive, and they're good little shooters. So we're going to take this one out to the range right now, and I've got some 38 short Colt that I loaded up, and we're going to fire a cylinder through on it and see how it does. So come join me. All right, we're down at the range. I've got the 1901. We're going to put 6 rounds through it and see what happens. And that's 6. And that's a look at the Colt 1892, 1894, 1898, 1901, 1904, the Colt Double Action 38 Revolver. Not a bad gun, pretty accurate, just way underpowered. You also want to watch too that some of the older cartridges will have mercury for the caps in them. Mercury filament was fairly common back years and years ago. And some of these, if you're looking for ammo and you look online, you know, you find some old stuff that was never shot, and you might get that, so be a little careful with that too. You ever had one of these? You ever shot one of these? You remember these? There were a lot of these made. They are all over the place, or they were back in the day. If you had one of these, tell me what model you had. If you ever got a chance to shoot it, or if it was something that just sat in the safe and nobody ever shot. If you enjoyed the videos, please consider giving this video a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. It's much appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Until next time, it's Matt with Midwest Guns and Gear. Have a great day.